All right, guys, so we are now going to jump into the automation. There's three things, We have the silo, we have the CRM, and we have offers and following up. We're going to be talking about this third one there. It's going to be really important. Now, there's three sections of automation, right? The silos, what happens when you don't get that right? Well, you're going to have complicated systems that aren't going to work. You're going to be confused. You're going to feel like you're spinning too many plates. You're going to feel like you aren't getting anything accomplished. But if you do get it right, you won't have to work as hard. You get to work on your business, not in it. You can really scale at that point. And again, like I said before, if you can do one deal a month, there's no reason why you can't do 8. And if you can do deals in one market, there's no reason why you can't do deals in 8 different markets. Now, tied to that, having a CRM and a database is real important. If you don't get this right, your leads are going to fall through the cracks. You'll get too overwhelmed with all the work that you have to do. You're always going to be scrambling, looking for leads, trying to remember what you said to the seller that you were supposed to do. You're going to forget what kind of offer you're supposed to make. And sellers are going to get annoyed that it took you so long to get back to them to get them their offer. Now, if you do get the CRM right, all your leads are going to get offers. All your leads are going to get followed up on. Nothing's going to fall through the cracks. Everything is going to be simple, kept in one place. And then eventually you're going to get someone else to update and manage the entire CRM for you, which is amazing. Now, with offers and following up, if you don't get this right, you're not going to make any money in this business because it all comes down to making offers and following up. You're going to find more than half of your deals come from the follow-up. If you do get it right, you're going to make a lot of money in this business. And again, like I said, most of your offers are going to be coming from the follow-up, okay? Now, let's jump back into this. Where are you right now? Well, I want you to go to the next handout, to the next page here, and it's called the income gap. I want you to open that page up, and we're going to talk about it here in just a minute. What percent would you guess of investors are making 6 figures a year? Well, the sad truth is only about 3% of investors actually make 6 figures a year. And 97% of investors struggle. Okay? All right, most investors struggle. And you know what? Few dominate. Most investors don't make anywhere near the money that they could be. Why? Well, here's the big question I want you to answer. Okay? What are these guys in the green doing that the guys in the red aren't? What are they doing? Well, is it that they use better systems, have better tools, they're smarter, better educated? Are they Ivy League educated? Or do they go to community college? Did they go to school at all? No, you know what? They're fast implementers, okay? And they're also using really, really simple systems. So your speed to income is directly proportional to how fast and how quickly you implement things in this business. So are you going to be one of the few, or are you going to be one of the most that struggle? Let me ask you some more questions here. Where are you now? Honestly, ask yourself, are you mostly struggling, or are you dominating your market? What are you going to do right now to get to green? I got some more things to teach you here. You need to know what your competition is not doing. They're not talking to sellers. They're not making offers to every seller. Now, what I mean by that, they're not talking to sellers. Most of your competition right now is not picking up the phone, okay? They're letting it go to voicemail, and maybe they call back in a couple days or a couple hours. But listen, this is the truth. You are 9 times more likely to do a deal if you call a seller back within a few minutes. 9 times, not 9 times more likely to talk to them, but 9 times more likely to actually do a deal if you answer the phones or you call them back within a few minutes of them dialing you. So most investors aren't doing that. They're not accessible. They're not picking up their phone and talking to sellers. Right? What else? They're not making offers to every seller lead that comes in, and they're not following up. Okay? They only have one offer that they give to sellers, and that's crazy. So if you want to have success in this business, and if you want to dominate, you need to do what your competition is not doing. Talk to sellers, making offers, following up, and giving the sellers multiple options. Okay? Now, this stuff should be so simple that your $3 an hour virtual assistant can do this. It's time to stop overanalyzing every deal. You need to be able to come up with your after repair values and repair estimates quickly. Your VA should be able to do this. And every lead as it comes into the system is either a suspect or a prospect, okay? You need to make an offer to every seller, and it's important to give the sellers options, especially to suspects. Now, if this sounds confusing and overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? It actually is really, really simple, and I'm going to show you how simple it can be with a little spreadsheet here that your VAs can start doing for you, okay? And it is simple. It's time for you to step away from the computer, focus on revenue generating activities, have a VA update your CRM for you, and you can just Voxer them updates and they can email you what you need to do next. Okay. Now, I'm saying keep it simple, and you may be looking at thinking, how am I going to step away from my computer? How am I going to get a VA to update the CRM for me? And what is Voxer? Like, what are you talking about? I get it. All right. So I'm going to show you in this system how you can get VAs to do all this for you. Now, real quick, I wanted to talk about, since we're talking about follow-up, there's different types of follow-up that your VAs can do. Sending text messages, emails, slide broadcasts, which go to voicemail, do your letters or postcards, and even do some Mojo Sells auto dialing for you, okay? Now, I'm going to review with you an offer spreadsheet. All right, so I just went to Pensacola, found a house in Zillow listed for rent. Let's say I send the text message to the seller, hey, do you want to do a lease purchase? Or hey, do you want to sell your house or something like that? And the seller says, yeah, sure. And so you call the guy up and you talk to him about the house. And I'm going to walk through some of the example questions that you can give to the seller while you have them on the phone. Like, hey, is the house still available? What's your situation? What would you like to see happen? What's your ultimate goal here? To sell fast or get a higher ticket price? Obviously, I'm not going to be asking these questions as quickly as I am here, right? But I wanted to give you just a simple roadmap to some simple questions you can ask sellers. You say, hey, I'm an investor. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your house to see if it would even be something I would be interested in? Looks like a nice house. Why don't you just sell it? Or why haven't you sold it yet? What are you going to do if you can't sell this house? A great question to ask, right? What are you going to do if the tenant you put in there doesn't work out, right? And starts calling you with things to fix, or when the rent is late, what are you going to do? Well, listen, if I could find a way, if I could show you a way that I could take care of all that and you wouldn't have to worry about it anymore, what would you want to do then? I'm looking for a property that I can lease for a year and then buy. Would that work for you? Or probably not. I just wanted to give you some simple questions that you could ask sellers. And then after they find out, yeah, I might be interested in a lease purchase or I might be interested in selling it, I'm going to plug in a really simple calculator. I'm going to put the numbers from that Zillow spreadsheet, from the Zillow, into this spreadsheet to come up with 3 different offers for that seller, okay? And so, again, this is something that my VA can do for me. And I'm just going to go into Zillow. I'm going to get the Zillow value of the house. His estimate is $338,284. $338,284. $338,284. And I'm going to do 75% of after repair value. The square footage on this home was 2628. 2628. And looking at the pictures, does it need any repairs? This looks really nice. Okay, so it doesn't need any repairs. I'm going to say 0. And I want to make a $10,000 wholesale fee. So all my VA is doing is inputting the yellow fields in here. Okay, and let's say you're in California or in a really hot market. Maybe you can get away with doing 80%. Let's just keep it at 75% for now. The market rents on this home, right now we can see they're asking $1,850 for it. Rent's estimate is $2,100. Let's just do $1,850 in here. Now, if I'm going to do a sandwich lease option, I want at least 25% of the rent as cash flow. I'm not going to go into the details of a sandwich lease option, but that's just going to give me some equity at the end and some cash flow. So I make cash now, cash flow, and cash later. So I want at least 15% equity in the house. I want at least 5 years. And so you can see my offer goes up. It goes from cash offer of $243 to a sandwich lease option of $287. And I can actually walk through with the seller showing them, listen, I'm going to get you the same equity you would get if you sold with a realtor. But let's say the market's really hot. You could bump that up to 10% if you want, okay? Then what price the seller wants. Let's say the seller says, you know what, I'm not going to sell it for anything less than $325. Well, you know what, maybe I can get the seller $325 if they're willing to lease it, and I already know they are because it's here on Zillow for rent. But lease it for a couple years with a contract to buy it in the future. And then what I'm going to do is just get it under contract with the seller and then assign that contract to the tenant buyer for a $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 assignment fee. So I'm going to give the seller 3 different options here: a cash price of $243, sandwich lease option price of $304, or a lease option assignment for $325. Then from here, I have 2 different cover letters. My VA fills these out, and we actually email and then send in the physical mail a letter to the seller. Something that looks simple like this: a letter of intent with the different options. Now you can do, in my calculators, I have seller financing and lease options. Simple as that. And then I have another cover letter and offer. Let's say I just want to send a cash offer to the seller. I just send them a cover letter. Hey, it was nice talking to you. And then a 1-page contract. Now, the cool thing about this is when you're using the right systems and tools, your VA can actually print this and mail it right here from the internet. Like in the physical mail, first class US mail, they're not printing it in the Philippines and mailing it from there. They're clicking on this button, clicking on this button, clicking on mail document, and boom, it gets sent to the seller in the physical mail. Why do we do physical mail? Well, it's just something that it's easier for them to hold on to. It's harder for them to lose. I email it to them and I send it in the physical mail. Amazing. Competition's not doing this. And with the CRMs that we use, you can send these offers with a click of the button and it goes really fast. Okay? Cool. That's the calculator. Now, the different offers that we make, really, really simple. Cash offer is your ARV, your after repair value, times 70%, minus repairs, minus fee. That's your offer. For your lease option, your perfect tenant program, well, the price is going to be about 15% off of the ARV, after repair value, minus repairs. The rent, you want at least 25% of the rent for cash flow. You should take market rent times 75%. And your term is going to be 3 to 5 years. On a lease option assignment or a wholesaling lease option deal, the option price is whatever price the seller wants, as long as you're willing to wait for it. The market rent, and I try to do about typically 2 years. You can also do seller financing, interest-only payments. I usually do something like ARV times 80%, term 5 to 10 years, interest 5%, interest-only payments. You want to make sure you get a 15% cash-on-cash return. Now, I know I'm flying through this fast, but this stuff can be just put into a really, really simple spreadsheet, and your VA can fill out these numbers for you. Then I also offer them principal-only payments with the ARV at full market value minus repairs, and I just set them the terms. The payments are until paid. Okay, so an example, what this means is principal-only payments is 0% interest. Let's say the price is $125,000. I'll give them $500 a month until paid. That's 250 months. Okay, you got to make sure you're getting cash flow. Simple as that. I know some of you are like, what? That simple as that? But it's about making offers, okay? And if a lead is a prospect, it's a suspect, then you want to send them offers. 90% of your leads are not going to be motivated. They're not going to be ready to do a deal today, right? So you want to send them an offer and follow up with them. That's what your competition is not doing. Now, you want to email and send in the physical mail an offer to the seller. And there's a link here that you can look at from Click2Mail on how to do that. If you just go to Google, do a search for Click2Mail, email to mail, you'll come up with a page like this, and it walks you through how you can actually email these offers to the sellers right from your inbox. Like print them. I hope I'm not confusing this. You send an email to Click2Mail with an attachment of the letter in it. Click2Mail will print the letter and actually send it in the mail to the seller. Okay? Clear as mud? All right. Now let's look at a case study here real quick. This was Steve Johnson, one of my first coaching clients, and I love this story. It's a picture of him and his wife here in one of their first deals. And then a few months later, he sent me this text. Not a bad Monday, went on vacation for a couple of weeks, came back home to these. It's about what, $14,000, $15,000, $16,000. Then we actually started working together, doing deals together in Tampa, St. Pete. And this was a deal where my half of the split was about $6,600. So the total assignment fee was about $13,000. And we did a lot of deals together. Now, he wrote something here that I thought was so cool. And I wanted to just share this with you. He says, my wife and I began investing about 4 years ago, starting our education and training early in the career. After completing their first deal, we became REI junkies. How many of you can relate to that? And started listening to every podcast we could find, Joe's podcast being one of the favorites. While at church visiting family in St. Louis, we ran into Joe. I remember this. Steve said, "Joe McCall, is that you?" And we talked right there at my church. He introduced himself, and he says here, Joe was humble and down to earth. Okay, now, he says here, when we started working with Joe, we had a few deals under our belt, and we were sending out inconsistent marketing. You notice that? He was struggling because he was sending inconsistent marketing. The worst part was that we were tied to our office because all of our leads were on Post-it notes and scrap pieces of paper with what seemed like thousands of reminders to try to keep up. Now, my wife and I have now been partnering with Joe for more than a year with great success. Our marketing is consistent and it's automated. We have an organized lead generation system, a stable follow-up system, and a coach who understands how to build a scalable wholesaling business from anywhere in the world. In July 2014, almost 1 year after starting to work with Joe, that's a long time ago, time flies, my wife and I fulfilled a lifelong dream of self-employment as full-time wholesaling investors. Joe is honest, works with integrity, is highly focused on the success of his partners, and is a massive action taker himself. Isn't that awesome? I mean, here Steve gets it. And all I had to do was help him build some simple systems to get his marketing consistently out the door. The systems manage the leads. It all gets done for him in spite of. Now, he was still working hard. He was starting to do a lot of deals. And when you do a lot of deals, you get more and more busy. But he could never have done that if he didn't have the systems in place to do that. Now, let's take a look at the insights and actions, okay? This is this part of the diagram right here. I want you to think about the offers and following up part of automation, okay? What are the 3 changes you know you need to make right now in your systems, in your automation? Do you need a CRM? Do you need a simple spreadsheet where your VA can make these complicated offers, right? Where you can send offers quickly by email and in the physical mail to sellers, where you're making offers to every single lead that comes in and you're following up every single month with all your sellers? So what are 3 changes you need to make right now in your business? Okay, so go to this handout, fill that out, and we'll see you on the next video, okay? All right, guys, so we're going to talk real quickly here about delegation. You got to remember, if you don't get these 3 things right, you're going to be spending a lot of time working too hard, okay? Now, with delegation, it comes to 3 things. Finding good virtual assistants, knowing how to find them, where to find them, how to hire them, and how to train them, and how to manage them, okay? And then having good boots on the ground people, because you're not going to be the one doing this business and running it and doing it all yourself. You're not going to be the one that's talking to sellers and taking pictures of the house and showing the house and selling them. You need a good local team of people that will do that for you, and they only get paid when you get paid. So it's not any money out of your pocket. It's doesn't go to overhead. And you also need to know your highest revenue generating activities, your KPIs, okay? So starting with hiring good virtual assistants, let's talk about the input impact ratio real quick here. Go to your handouts, go to this graph right here, the input impact ratio. I'm going to draw a few things here for you real quick. This is a really, really simple diagram. I just wanted to show you kind of visually what it means. So you're putting 7 units of input into your business, but you're only getting 1 unit of output back. If you turn that around, you're putting 1 unit of input to get 7 units of impact back. So which one are you? So you need to ask yourself, are you putting 7 units of input to get 1 unit of impact back? Or are you putting 1 unit of input in to get 7 units of impact back? So think about it for a second, all right? You a 7 to 1, or are you a 1 to 7? Are you doing everything yourself and only seeing 1 unit of return? Or do you have someone else doing all this stuff for you and you're only doing the one thing that is most important and then seeing all of this huge impact coming back to your business, right? So ask yourself this really good question right now. What are you going to do right now to get more greens? You want to turn these into greens. 1 unit of input gives you 7 units of impact. Does that make sense? When it comes to delegation, you need to think about how can you get your team to do all this for you. When I was in St. Louis, I had an acquisitions manager. We were doing 4 or 5 deals a week, doing really, really well, but I was working way too hard still, even with an acquisitions manager. So I thought, how can I step away from all this? I wrote down all the steps that are involved, and I asked myself a simple question. How can I get someone to do all of this for me? How can I do none of this? And that's what got me started on the automated wholesaling system, right? So it forced me to focus on revenue-generating activities. It's time, guys, to stop asking how and start asking who. Stop trying to fix your weaknesses. Start outsourcing them. Now, it's important to understand, when you got the systems and teams in place, you need to focus on communicating with your team. Not doing the work, but communicating with them and leading them. So how to find, hire, and train VAs? Really simple. To find them, let me give you some websites. virtualstafffinder.com, upwork.com, onlinejobs.ph, and vaeasybutton.com. Virtualstafffinder.com is like a headhunting website where they will give you 3 pre-qualified VAs. They charge about $500 for one-time fee to find these 3 VAs, and then they can start working for you. If one of them doesn't work out, they'll find you another one. Upwork.com is really good to go and find VAs more on a project-specific basis. Onlinejobs.ph is a website that's actually from the Philippines. It's a great place to go and find VAs. I've used all of these, and I have VAs from all of them. So I'd recommend you check it out. Now, there's a whole bunch. I could go spend hours and hours talking about these exact steps and how to find them. But let me just tell you this. If we decide to work together later on, I'm going to be talking about it, how you can actually use my VAs in your business to get a jump start. Okay. Now, when you hire them, I like to use Upwork sometimes to manage them, but there's also tools like Hubstaff where you can actually, it gives all of the different benefits and advantages of using Upwork, but on your own platform. Hubstaff is really good. I use that. And for payroll, you can pay them through PayPal. Just write, if it's a virtual assistant, write their marketing expense. If you have local assistants, there's a lot of different services you could use for payroll, but you want to payroll them if they're local in the U.S., it's my opinion. Now, when you train them, there's some real simple tools that you need to know about and use. Google Docs, what I do when I create a simple system, I bullet point everything that needs to be done. Okay. In Google Docs, I create a screencast-o-matic video of me actually doing it. And then I communicate with my team on Slack and Skype, because communication is really, really important. Okay, now here's something to remember too. Don't feel like, oh man, I have to understand all these systems before I can actually train my VA to do that. You know what? You can actually make your VAs create the systems for you. You can actually tell them, listen, here's a video that Joe did. Here's a podcast. Here's a YouTube video. I want to do the same thing. So you go try to do it, and I want you to create the system and automation for me. And they can write it all out and do the video, because you tell them, listen, if you ever quit or if you got sick, I would want somebody else to do this for me. So you need to create a process for each of these different things. Remember, we talked about simple system skill and getting it into silo. So when it comes to things like, sending text messages to Craigslist ads or pulling down addresses from the court website or whatever, have your VA learn how it works, learn the system, and have them write the procedures out. Really, really simple stuff. Now, let me tell you real quick about Sean Stewart. This guy's amazing. He's a social worker living in Maryland, doing deals in the Midwest. And he doesn't make very much money as a social worker, but he loves his job and he does not want to quit. So you know what he does? He followed my automated wholesaling system to a T. Now he's doing just 2 to 3 deals a month, not making a ton of money, but he's making more money than he is in his job. And guess what? He's only working 30 minutes a week. Not 30 hours a week, not 30 hours a month. He's working 30 minutes a week. Okay? He's doing simple postcards. He's got a VA that takes the calls, pre-screens the leads, puts them into the CRM, and he's working with a local wholesaler that takes those good prospect leads, makes appointments, meets with the sellers, flips them, and all the suspect leads, his good VA makes offers, does all the follow-up, and he's crushing it right now, and he's looking to grow into new markets. Okay? Now, as you know, as a social worker making 40, 50 grand a year, that's not a lot of money, right? How can you save anything for retirement? But Sean is able now to save for retirement because of this automated wholesaling business. I love his story. It's so cool. Now, insights and actions. Remember this diagram right here? here, right here. What are 3 changes you know you need to make right now in your delegation? So go ahead, print this handout, write down the 3 changes you know you need to make right now to find, hire, and train the best virtual assistants. Guys, going back to this diagram, don't forget under delegation, it's important. Once you start hiring rockstar virtual assistants, if you don't have a good solid local team, if you don't know your KPIs and your revenue generating activities, if you're not focusing on the most important things, well, it's going to be really, really hard.